Hi guys, what we're going to do today is we're going to have a look at how to export figures so that you can composite them against your own backgrounds or use them against plain backgrounds so that you don't have to do too much post work on them. So what we have here is a horse and rider scene that I've just quickly put together using default stuff. Here's a bunch of different backgrounds. We're going to put it on one of these and Photoshop ready to do it in. You don't need Photoshop, you can use any image editor of your choice. So by default it has these default poser lights. Just to simplify things, I'm going to get rid of those lights. So I'm going to go up to scripts, I'm going to go utility, delete lights. It asks me if I'm sure, I say yes. So now I've got no lights. Now I'm going to add a single infinite light. So this represents sunshine basically. And there you go, looking at the shadow, the sun's high and to the front. I'm just going to change that color to sunlight. I like to go with a color of 240, 240, 255. That's the RGB values, which I'm just going to set here. So I just go into here, 240, 240, 255, and it gives that very gentle blue, almost hazy blue sky, no clouds kind of look. And now I have a couple of choices. So I'm rendering in this at 3840 by 2160, which is 4K resolution. So let's just give that a quick render to start with. I've got this set on high. Now I'm not rendering on a 4K screen. I'm on a super wide screen, so as I can work off the screen on other stuff. So most of this render is going to happen off the screen, but I want to show you something first of all. So this is going to take a little while. I'm just going to fast forward from here, I think. Okay, so that's rendered. Oops, that disappeared quick. Okay, my system seems very slow at the moment. Let's have a look at our render. Okay, where's she gone? There we go. So the reason that I rendered in 4K is because I want to show you, okay, our eyes are a bit weird and the mane's not perfect, but I want to show you an issue that occurs with hair. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to export that as a image to the downloads. I'm going to call that rider no trans. Now I'm going to go to Photoshop. I'm going to open that image. So you see it's saved the background there. Now we've got a shadow against the floor. We've got the background image there. So what you might have done in the past is just get rid of that background with one of the Photoshop tools, such as object selection or quick selection tool here, or even magic wand to get rid of the background like that. But the trouble is, you never the hair here. It never quite works, and then I'll demonstrate. It's easier, right? Okay, so delete. Okay, so let's just do probably the easiest of those is just object selection tool. So I'm just going to go round. I'm going to draw around. Okay, I've missed a blimmin' hair. Okay, scratch that. Okay, go round her and the horse and the shadow. And Photoshop's going to do a smart select. It's going to work out what we want to get rid of. So she's selected. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn that into a layer mask. So I'm going to go over to here. I'm going to do mask. So there's a mask you can see. Turn that object selection tool off now. And you can see we've lost some of the hair there. So now if we import an image behind her, let me just do that. Place linked image. We'll do this one for now. Okay, it's way too small, but it doesn't matter. Stretch that here. and now drag that layer down underneath her. So you can see that the layer mask is knocked out the background here. And you'll see there's all this kind of grey stuff here. You've lost the wispiness on the hair. So what you then do is go onto the mask and you do select and mask here. So you're refining the mask, and then you'd gradually change these edges so they're a bit soft. Okay, that was the wrong tool. You gradually change the opacity around the edges of these to kind of soften them up. Okay, I think it's a while since I've done this. What am I doing? So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get the wispy softness back on this edge here. Do you see that? And it's a pain in the butt, basically. So see that hair has kind of got more transparency to it now, yeah? And the shadows kind of gone entirely. So what I do then is I'm just going to make that invisible so we can see, look, we've lost the shadow entirely. So I'm just going to kill that mask entirely. And we'd have to refine that layer mask to get rid of that, or we could turn her into a selection. That is a lot of messing around, okay? So it's far better if we can find a way to export her with no background, but all of this wispiness in her hair. So it's a very easy way to do that. We go back into our original, and there's a number of things we do. The first thing we do is in the render settings, we set transparent background. That seems obvious, okay? But there's two more things we need to do. Now, if I didn't need the shadow, what I'd do is I'd select this ground, which is called the construct, and I'd just go up to here and I'd make the whole thing invisible. So now we've got a transparent background. If you render with the construct on, the construct renders where's our thing here? The construct renders visible like this. So what we're going to do is we're going to render that construct out, but rather than turning the construct off, we want the shadow to show because we want to composite the shadow into the background as well. So I'm going to leave the construct on, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to material and I'm going to select this. I'm going to left click on the ground here of the construct, and I'm just going to click on shadow catch only. I'm going to do the same on the background, but I don't think there's any shadow there anyway. So now I'm just going to render this. I'll be back with you in a second. So we've got transparency turned on and we've got the construct left on. So in the normal scheme of things, there would be no point having transparency because the construct would be visible. But by turning on shadow catch only, the construct becomes invisible except for the place where there's a shadow. And I'll render that and you can have a look. Okay, so that's rendered, but the background is black. Now, something you need to realize when it does a transparent background, it doesn't matter if any part of your object is black, that still stays as a foreground object, and black is also used for transparency. So now you can't really see the detail there. So what we'll do is we'll export that image and we'll call that rider trans. Hopefully I saved it and didn't just, yep, there you go, rider trans. And you see straight away there's the construct is gone, but the shadow has been retained. So now if I open that, rider trans, you see the black and grey is Photoshop's way of demonstrating transparency. And now when I bring in, let me see, place linked. When I bring in a background here, let me see what colors did we do this one before? And drop that behind it and zoom in on the hair, you'll see all of that lovely wispy detail is retained straight away. So that's a great way to export images when you want transparent, when you want shadows. See the shadows there? and when you want fine detail without having to spend ages in layer masks and refinement and all of that kind of stuff. So if you wanted that just to have the horse, supposing you were doing a book cover, for example, and you didn't want that shadow, all you do is you'd go to Poser, and you'd make the construct invisible entirely. So here we've got ground, and you just do ground, not visible, and then when you rendered, you wouldn't have any shadow to show up at all. Anyway, guys, hopefully that helps you, and I will speak to you again soon.